Late last year, President Biden issued an executive order aimed at improving customer experience and rebuilding Americans' trust in the federal government. Martha Dorris is a former executive at the General Services Administration. She's currently a consultant for government and industry on improving customer service. Martha, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Mimi. Glad to be here.
How would you rate agencies overall and how they've done in implementing President Biden's the executive order?
So I think that the government's a big entity, so you can't rate agencies, as a whole. I think that there's anywhere in maturity from, a 1 to a 5. So I think that it's definitely varies across agencies. I think that agencies are really still in the process of figuring out everything they need to do in relation to the executive order, because the executive order isn't even doesn't sit there in isolation. It also connects with Section 280 of A11. It also connects to the 21st Century Idea and the President's Management Agenda. So it's a compendium of like a government CX policy framework.
So what are some examples of agencies that have done a good job at making changes, and why do you think they were successful?
So I think the number one thing to make an agency successful is the leadership in the agency from the top. And I think that's been proven through the VA is probably the most mature and has the most successes between having a chief veteran experience officer. They've begun to include employee experience in their experience program. They've been able to create regulations within their agency so that anything that happens through an executive order, you fear that it's going to get momentum and then you're going to lose it when you change administration. So they've been able to put it in their regulations to avoid that. Another thing where the reason why we want to get some legislation on this is so we can continue this momentum. There's also a lot of things in the executive order in terms of putting customer experience in the SES performance plans. And I think VA has done a good job in infusing veteran experience in the way they conduct business, which is also one of the goals within the executive order, in their budget process, in their performance management process, and in their strategic planning process. And then they have a lot of technology innovations, and again, from the top, going down through their veteran experience office and out into all of the services within the VA.
And taking a step back, Martha, I mean, ultimately, why is this so important?
So, this is one of the reasons why we had a little bit of stalling, I think, up front, because people look at the way its customer experience is used in the private sector, and it's around loyalty and revenue. And that does relate to the government as well, but there's many other reasons within the government. And building trust in government is one of the biggest reasons. I mean, there's been an OECD report recently that demonstrated that reliable government services is one of the major drivers to improving trust in government. It's actually more efficient, increases employee engagement, and actually improves the lives of citizens. So there's really it's a win-win-win all around in terms of implementing the practices, the strategies, and the methodologies within customer experience.
And you created the Service to the Citizen Award program to highlight the people working to make a difference in customer service. Explain a bit more about it and the motivation behind it.
Well, thank you for asking about that. That's sort of my baby and hopefully my legacy. And when I left the government and wanted to bring this discipline to the federal government in a more active way, I looked at why the government hadn't adopted these practices. And one of the reasons was recognition for the work that people do in this area. Most of the recognition programs are around implementing, cool technology, or they go to the C-suite. And I wanted to recognize and honor and celebrate those unsung heroes from the bottom to the top anywhere from the person who answers the phone or creates a social media strategy to provide information to their customers, all the way up to OMB, who created the PMA and issued created the executive order. So it's been a life, a passion of mine and a project that feel very strongly about.
And Martha, can you just highlight just one of the honorees and what their accomplishments are?
Well, one of the government executive of the year this year is Dr. Patricia Hayes from the VA, and she's focused her career on women's health. And women's health at the VA is a perfect example of how not understanding who your customers are in the VA, that your veterans are the percentage of women and the health care that they were getting, and then turning the information that you get from understanding your customers and their experience into a project and making a difference in communities that didn't necessarily have the focus on them previously.
All right. Well, Martha, we're out of time, but thank you so much for joining us and talking to us about this.
Thank you so much, Mimi.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on any future Government Matters interviews.